When you combine eggs with processed meats like bacon, sausages, pepperoni, or ham, you create one of the most dangerous meals for your heart without even realizing it. Eggs on their own are nutrient-dense, filled with high-quality protein, choline, antioxidants, and healthy fats that your body actually needs. But processed meats are the complete opposite. They contain nitrates, nitrites, preservatives, advanced glycation end products, and oxidized fats that immediately trigger inflammation inside your arteries. The moment these chemicals mix with the fats and cholesterol naturally found in eggs, your blood vessels respond aggressively. Arteries stiffen, oxidative stress increases, and your endothelial function, the part responsible for keeping blood flow smooth, becomes impaired within minutes after the meal. Studies show that this combination is linked to a 93% increase in heart attack risk, largely because of how this meal behaves inside the bloodstream. It's not a slow, silent process. The reaction is almost instant. The biggest issue is what happens to your blood after you eat this pairing. Processed meats release inflammatory cytokines, and when they enter your system together with the fat and protein from eggs, the blood becomes thicker and more resistant to flow. Researchers describe this as reduced arterial elasticity, meaning your arteries lose their ability to expand and contract with each heartbeat. When this flexibility disappears, blood pressure rises, heart strain increases, and the risk of plaque formation skyrockets. Many people feel sleepy, heavy, or sluggish after eating bacon and eggs, and they think it's normal. But that post-breakfast slump is actually your cardiovascular system struggling to manage the metabolic stress created by that combination. Another hidden danger is the way processed meats damage the gut. When you consume eggs with something like sausage, harmful compounds such as TMAO increase dramatically. Elevated TMAO levels are linked directly to clogged arteries, stroke, and heart failure. Eggs alone don't create this spike, but the moment you add nitrates and processed fats, your gut bacteria produce TMAO in large amounts. This is why two people can eat eggs and have completely different health outcomes depending on what they combine them with. There's also the issue of cooking methods. Most processed meats are fried or grilled at high heat, producing carcinogens like heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These compounds are already harmful, but when combined with the cholesterol oxidation that happens when eggs are cooked at high temperatures, the oxidative load becomes too much for the arteries to handle. Your body responds by increasing inflammation as a protective reaction, but over time, that chronic inflammation becomes the foundation for heart disease. Even the salt content in processed meats contributes to the danger. A typical serving of bacon or sausage contains more sodium than your heart can comfortably handle in one sitting. When paired with eggs, which slow down digestion because of their protein and fat content, the sodium stays longer in your system, increasing fluid retention and making your heart pump harder. If someone already has high blood pressure or borderline cholesterol, this single breakfast can push them into a dangerous zone without any symptoms. The shocking part is that most people don't consider this combination unhealthy because it has been marketed as a classic breakfast for decades. But once you understand how your body reacts internally, it becomes clear why removing this one pairing can dramatically improve your heart health, energy levels, and overall well-being. When you combine eggs with sugary or high glycemic foods like white toast, sugary ketchup, breakfast syrups, hash browns, or sweetened sauces, something dangerous happens inside your bloodstream, something most people don't even realize is taking place. Eggs digest slowly because of their protein and healthy fats. But the moment you add fast-digesting sugars and refined carbs, your body gets hit with two opposite metabolic forces at the same time. First comes a rapid spike in blood sugar from the refined carbs, or sugar, which forces your pancreas to release a large amount of insulin. Then, because eggs slow digestion, the sugar stays in your system longer, forcing the body to keep producing even more insulin. This creates what researchers call a metabolic collision, where your blood becomes thicker, heavier, and more inflammatory. This is why many people feel sleepy, bloated, or drained after a sugary breakfast with eggs. The fatigue isn't normal, it's the result of your bloodstream struggling to handle the extreme jump in glucose, paired with slow digesting fats. On top of that, the sugar plus fat combination encourages the formation of triglycerides, which then circulate through your bloodstream and can begin depositing inside artery walls. Over time, this thick, sludgy blood flow stresses the heart and increases the risk of clotting. The moment you add sugar to a meal containing eggs, your body is forced into an inflammatory state. The inflammation doesn't come from eggs, it comes from the way sugar hijacks your bloodstream. There's also a major issue with how your arteries react. High sugar causes blood vessels to become stiff and less responsive. When your arteries can't relax or widen properly, your blood pressure increases after the meal. This is why many people who regularly eat sugary breakfasts end up with morning headaches, dizziness, or that heavy feeling in the chest when climbing stairs. These are subtle signs that the body is working overtime to push thickened blood through narrowed vessels. And when this becomes a daily eating pattern, the cumulative inflammation increases long-term heart attack risk far more than people realize. Pairing eggs with ketchup is another hidden trap. Ketchup looks harmless, but most brands contain shockingly high levels of sugar. When you add this to eggs, especially fried eggs, your insulin spikes harder and your body reacts by storing more fat. The sugar also increases oxidative stress, meaning your arteries are exposed to more free radicals, tiny unstable molecules that damage artery lining and encourage plaque formation. Hash browns add another problem, because they are not only high in carbs but also fried in seed oils, which turn toxic at high heat. So now your body is fighting sugar spikes, inflammation, and oxidative damage all at the same time. Even something as simple as white toast becomes a problem when paired with eggs. White bread breaks down almost immediately into glucose. That rapid digestive speed wouldn't be as harmful alone, but mixed with egg fats, the glucose absorbs slower but spikes higher. This combination is one of the reasons people over 50 experience sudden mid-morning crashes, brain fog, or that shaky feeling before lunch. It's not age, it's the metabolic confusion happening after breakfast. The more you repeat these sugary combinations with eggs, the more your metabolism weakens, your arteries stiffen, and your heart is forced to work harder morning after morning. Avoiding this combination is one of the simplest and most effective ways to protect your heart, reduce inflammation, and keep your energy steady throughout the day. When you mix eggs with large amounts of cheese, you're creating a fat-heavy combination that your heart has a really hard time handling, especially as you get older. Eggs by themselves have healthy fats, antioxidants, and clean protein that your body can use efficiently. But once you add cheese, particularly cheddar, mozzarella, American cheese, or full-fat processed cheese, the entire nutrient balance of the meal shifts from heart-friendly to artery-straining. Cheese is loaded with saturated fats, and when these fats combine with the fats already present in egg yolks, the total saturated fat load becomes much higher than your body can safely manage in one sitting. This heavy fat combination slows digestion, thickens your blood, and forces your heart to work harder to circulate that thicker, fat-rich blood throughout your body. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. The classic cheese omelette, the cheesy scramble, the breakfast sandwiches with melted cheese, they taste amazing, but quietly stress your cardiovascular system. One of the biggest problems with cheese and egg meals is how they impact triglycerides. Triglycerides are fats that circulate in your bloodstream, and when you consume a lot of saturated fat at once, your triglyceride levels rise quickly. High triglycerides make your blood heavier and more prone to forming plaque inside your artery. When this happens repeatedly, breakfast after breakfast, your arteries slowly lose flexibility, and your heart has to pump harder against that resistance. The combination also causes oxidative stress, which is another major issue. Cheese contains oxidized fats, and when exposed to the high heat used during cooking, these fats produce harmful compounds that damage the inner lining of your blood vessels. Eggs cooked at high heat can also oxidize, and when both foods undergo this process together, the oxidative load doubles. This damages endothelial cells, which are the cells responsible for keeping blood flow smooth and preventing clots. When these cells become inflamed or damaged, plaque forms more easily, blood pressure rises, and the long-term risk of heart disease increases. Digestively, this combination causes even more problems. Eggs already take time to break down, but cheese is even slower to digest, which means the meal sits in your stomach and bloodstream for much longer. This extended digestion keeps insulin levels elevated for hours, increases inflammation, and makes your body store more fat instead of burning it. It's the reason many people feel heavy, sluggish, or bloated after eating a cheesy breakfast. That feeling is your digestive system struggling to keep up with the fat load. Sodium is another hidden danger. Cheese is one of the highest sodium foods people eat regularly. When you mix the saltiness of cheese with the dense protein of eggs, your body holds on to more water, increasing blood pressure almost immediately after the meal. This is especially dangerous for anyone over 40, anyone with borderline hypertension, or anyone trying to control cholesterol level. Over time, this repeated combination can quietly push your cardiovascular system into a risky zone without any warning signs. Most people believe adding cheese to eggs just makes the meal richer and tastier, but internally, it's a completely different story. The body sees this combination as a high-fat, high-sodium, high-oxidation load that needs urgent cleanup. And your heart ends up paying the price every single time you start your morning this way. When you fry eggs in seed oils like soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, or generic vegetable oil, you're creating one of the most harmful combinations for your arteries without even realizing it. These oils look harmless, they're cheap, and they're used in almost every restaurant and fast food kitchen. But once they're heated, especially to the high temperatures needed for frying eggs, they break down into toxic compounds that your body struggles to handle. The scary part is that these oils don't just get hot, they oxidize. Oxidation creates free radicals, unstable molecules that attack and damage your artery walls from the inside. When you combine these toxic overheated oils with eggs, especially egg yolks rich in healthy fats, the good fats are transformed into oxidized fats, and that's when inflammation skyrockets. This inflammation is not something you feel immediately, but your arteries do. They become irritated, less flexible, and more prone to developing plaque. The inner lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium, becomes damaged by these oxidized compounds. Once the endothelium is inflamed, your body responds by creating more plaque as a protective mechanism. Over time, repeated exposure to these oils can dramatically increase the risk of heart disease, even if the rest of your diet is clean. Another problem with seed oils is their omega-6 content. Your body needs omega-6 fats in small amounts, but the oils used for frying contain extremely high levels. When omega-6 fats are heated, they convert into inflammatory byproducts that throw your body's omega-3 to omega-6 balance completely off. This imbalance directly contributes to joint pain, artery stiffness, chronic inflammation, and elevated triglycerides. And when you combine these fats with eggs, the inflammation becomes even stronger because your body is processing damaged fats along with the natural fats from the egg yolk. Many people think eggs cause inflammation, but it's actually the oils they're cooked in that create the problem. Restaurants make the issue worse. Most diners, cafes, and fast food places reuse the same seed oil again and again. Every time the oil reheats, it becomes more toxic, generating compounds like aldehydes that have been linked to cancer and cardiovascular damage. So even if you think you're eating something simple and harmless like sunny-side-up eggs from a diner, the oil they're cooked in could be doing serious harm. Your arteries react immediately, becoming less elastic. Your blood pressure rises slightly and inflammation markers start to climb. Cooking eggs in seed oils also changes how your blood behaves after the meal. These damaged oils increase your post-meal triglycerides, meaning your blood becomes thicker and harder to pump. This heavy fat-laden blood flow stresses the heart and creates the perfect environment for plaque buildup. Many people experience heartburn, bloating, or sluggishness after eating fried eggs, and they assume it's the eggs themselves. But in reality, it's the toxic oil slowing digestion, irritating your gut, and increasing inflammation throughout your system. The good news is that the solution is simple. The moment you stop frying eggs in these seed oils and switch to healthier options, your body reacts almost instantly. Your arteries relax more, inflammation decreases, your energy becomes more stable, and even digestion improves. Eggs aren't the problem, it's the oil they're cooked in that turns them into a dangerous meal for your heart. Fast food egg breakfasts create one of the most dangerous combinations for your heart, and most people don't realize how quickly this type of meal can harm their body. When you walk into a fast food place and order an egg sandwich, a breakfast burrito, or a special breakfast plate, the real problem isn't the egg itself, it's everything surrounding the egg: refined white bread, processed cheese, salty sauces, cheap seed oils, and processed meats like sausage, bacon, or ham. All these things stacked together create a metabolic bomb that hits your bloodstream within minutes. Your arteries feel the effects long before you do. These meals combine sugar, salt, oxidized fats, trans fats, and inflammatory additives, And when they all enter your system at the same time, your heart is forced to work harder than it should. Fast food eggs are usually cooked on industrial griddles coated with reheated seed oils that have been used dozens of times, sometimes all day long. Every time the oil reheats, it becomes more toxic and generates harmful compounds like aldehydes that inflame and damage the lining of your blood vessels. When eggs absorb these oils, the healthy fats in egg yolks become oxidized, which turns a nutritious food into something your body struggles to process. This is one of the reasons people feel heavy, bloated, or exhausted after eating fast food breakfast. It's not just the calories, it's the inflammation. The refined bread in these meals adds another layer of risk. White buns, biscuits, muffins, tortillas, and croissants digest incredibly fast, causing a rapid surge in blood sugar. When you combine that sugar spike with the fats from eggs, cheese, and processed meats, your body enters a state of metabolic confusion. Insulin rises sharply, triglycerides increase, and your blood becomes thicker and more sluggish. This sludgy blood flow stresses your arteries, raises blood pressure, and puts an immediate burden on the heart. This is why people over 40 often feel tired or mentally foggy within an hour of eating a fast food breakfast. Processed cheese makes the situation even worse. Fast food cheese isn't the same as natural cheese. It's filled with emulsifiers, stabilizers, hydrogenated oils, and artificial colorings. When combined with eggs, this processed cheese delivers a massive amount of saturated fat and sodium, both of which spike inflammation and increase fluid retention. Your heart ends up pumping harder just to move blood through vessels that are temporarily more constricted. Then there's the processed meat. Fast food sausage patties, bacon strips, and ham slices are cooked in high-heat oils packed with sodium and preservatives, and loaded with nitrates that have been directly linked to heart disease. When you stack all of this with eggs, your body experiences an immediate inflammatory reaction. Researchers have found that after one fast food breakfast, markers of vascular inflammation rise sharply and stay elevated for hours. Repeating this every day or even several times a week compounds the damage over time. The sauces and spreads add a final hit. Ketchup, mayo, breakfast sauces, or special spreads are high in sugar and industrial oil. When mixed with eggs, the sugar plus fat combination multiplies the oxidative stress in your bloodstream. This is the part most people don't see. You finish the meal feeling full, maybe satisfied, but inside your arteries are under attack. The truth is simple: fast food breakfasts aren't dangerous because of the eggs. They're dangerous because eggs are surrounded by the worst possible food combinations: processed meats, processed oils, processed cheese, refined carbs, and hidden sugar. When you remove these additions, eggs become one of the healthiest foods you can eat.